If you're watching this video, it's because you've already heard of the tragic news. Vince Zampella passing away. As of me recording this, it's the same day, and earlier this morning, he passed away December 22nd, 2025, due to a car accident. He was only 55 years old, and this isn't going to be a long video. I just wanted to make it because, as myself, as tons of other people, I grew up with a lot of the games that he developed and he helped create, and it just felt appropriate to make a video. First of all, extending my support to his family and his friends and colleagues and anyone who's been immediately really affected by this loss, but also just to extend my gratitude to his legacy and to all the games, great games that he left behind. Vince Zampella, if you didn't know, he originally worked on Medal of Honor on those games, and while I didn't play those games because I just wasn't even born yet when those games were coming out, it was later that he'd go on to create or help create Call of Duty. One of the amazing genius minds behind that legendary franchise, when it was really legendary and when it was putting out an amazing game every single year. But specifically, I remember the original Modern Warfare 2 that came out in 2009. He also helped develop that game and create that game. And that game was the one that really, really helped shape my childhood. Modern Warfare 2 to this day, the original, my favorite Call of Duty game of all time, one of my favorite first-person shooter campaigns to ever play through. Just the legendary, tons of legendary moments that are in that game, in that campaign, timeless. A timeless masterpiece, if we're going to be honest, and the multiplayer and everything. Vince Zampella was behind that, and I think something that really goes kind of unsung, or that I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about when it comes to Vince Zampella, is just the passion that you could tell that he always put into the games that he worked on. Whether it was the Medal of Honor games, whether it was the original Call of Duty games, whether it was COD 4, Modern Warfare that came out in 2007, or Modern Warfare 2 that came out in 2009, or later on when he'd leave infinityward and he'd go create his own studio when he made Respawn Entertainment, and they made Titanfall, and then they made Titanfall 2, and then they made apexlegends, and then the Star Wars Jedi games with Jedi Fallen Order, Jedisurvivor. Like, every game felt like it always had a lot of passion, a lot of love put into it. And I don't know if this is me just kind of feeling the immediate sadness of this, or trying to kind of exaggerate, but I'm really not trying to exaggerate here. I really do think that you could tell the passion and love he had for the projects that he worked on behind every project he worked on. And I think that's something that's really going to be missed in the gaming side of things, in the gaming community. But also, I just want to sing the praises for the games that I grew up with. Modern Warfare 2, the original one, that was a huge pillar of my childhood, man. Like, I looked forward to playing that game every day after school, every weekend. I would talk to my friends about it at school. I would think about it. I would replay the campaign. I'd go online, and it was just everything. That whole experience meant so much to me as a kid, and it still does to this day. But obviously, if you go back and try and play the original Modern Warfare 2 now online, it's a little harder to find matches. There's a lot of hacking going on. You already know the classic deal with those older Call of Duty games. But when I think of Titanfall, those games, how they helped be a huge pillar of my life during my young adult years, high school, coming out of high school, my early college years, and even now to this day, I still try to play Titanfall 2 every once in a while because I love that game. I feel like that game is still underrated. I still feel like a lot of people haven't played it, and I do feel like everyone should give that game a chance, because even to this day, like however many years it's been since it came out, I think it's been over 9 years now, which is crazy to think about. Titanfall 2 still feels good. It still feels fresh. It still feels original, especially in a day and age where a lot of first-person shooters are kind of very similar. I don't want to say the same, but very similar. But even now, fast forwarding all the way to 2025, Vince Zampella worked on Battlefield 6. He was one of the main developers behind Battlefield 6, one of the main people that was doing interviews before the game came out, that was just kind of, interacting with the community. And you could tell, even with Battlefield 6, all these years later, that he still had that passion, that he still had that love put into this game, put into the games that he worked on. And yes, Battlefield 6 might have XYZ issues, or it might not be a perfect game or whatever by your standards, but a lot of people, myself included, are enjoying that game and are grateful that Vince Zampella came to DICE and he helped create Battlefield 6, because it does feel like he helped get Battlefield at least on the right track again. He helped get it focused again with what's happening with this game. And I just want to extend my thanks to Vince Zampella, because he really was there. His games were there for me as a kid. They were there for me as a young adult, and now as a grown man, they've also been there for me, and I'm still enjoying them. And I think that that's something that's really beautiful. And I think in a way that's probably what he wanted. Obviously, I don't think he knew that he was going to pass away at 55. I don't think anyone ever knows when you're going to pass away. But I do think, and I would like to hope and know that, this is partially what he wanted, like to leave a legacy of great games so that one day when he would eventually pass away, which we're all going to do, he'd leave this behind. He'd leave this behind for fans, for his friends, for his family, whatever the case may be. But thank you, Vince Zampella, for everything, man. Really, like, your games were there for me as a kid when I was getting bullied in middle school. They were there for me when I was in high school and things were looking better but still stressful because, the pressures of adult life were coming. And now as an adult, when I still feel a lot of stress sometimes, your games are still there for me, man. And I can't ever thank you enough for that. And even though I never knew Vince Zampella personally, again, because of that passion, because of that love that was put into the games that he worked on, it's almost like all the fans that he has, I don't know, maybe I'm alone in thinking this, but I don't think so. It's almost like we feel like we get to know at least a small part of him, because of all the love and just passion that he poured into the games that he worked on. And to his family, to his friends, I am just extending my support. If I could send you a big hug, I would, but just know that I'm praying for you, and I'm hoping that all of you get through this difficult time as best as you can, that you can navigate it in the most healthy way possible, especially considering that this tragedy happened right before the holidays, man. Right before Christmas, right before New Year's. Very, very difficult. I can't even imagine. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. Please leave your best wishes in the comments below. Let me know your best memories with some of Vince Zampella's legendary games throughout his amazing career. And thank you, Vince Zampella. Thank you for everything, man.